Hello everybody, welcome to another deck tech, and this is modern this time, okay? Today I'll be talking about a modern deck because I've been loving modern for the last, a few weeks, and I play Bant control, and God, am I having fun. Really, really brilliant deck. And today I want to talk about the deck itself, the cards I play, the cards I don't play, and why. For now, right? Obviously, I keep testing why this and not Snowblade after that, and I hope you will leave with some kind of understanding and grasp on the archetype. But before I begin, please remember to like, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment and show me if you like it or not, and let's begin. And actually, I want to begin with the mana base. That's something which people overlook all the time. And when I decided to work on the deck, I copy-pasted somebody else's deck because I hadn't played Modern for, 3 months or something. And I immediately, when playing, I kept looking at the mana base. And this is what it is right now. So, 1 point. 3 Field of Ruin. People play 4, and I've hated this. I still hate 3, but I will probably keep playing 3. As I was thinking about it, Green Tron is like probably the least popular it's ever been. E-Tron doesn't care that much about Field of Ruin, and we just kind of win the fair game with them. Prowess, you don't do anything. Band Spirits, okay, so sometimes in general you hit some kind of a horizon land. People don't play that many man lands anyway. Again, in the mirror match, there are no colonnades now to hit. So there are decks like Prowess where you just literally don't hit anything. So I just don't think it's that great, really. Obviously, it has some moments, and for a card that has some moments, I think 4 is too many. 3 is probably okay. 8 fetches, right? 8 fetches for Strand. Yeah. What? Wait. Yeah, 4 fetches of Flooded Strand and 4 fetches of Misty, so we just want the blue fetches. Blue is super crucial because of Sanctuary. 8 fetches, just 8 fetches, right? If you cannot afford Misties, you could play Yakport Deltas or Scalding Tarns. Don't play Windswept Heath. It's some kind of blue fetch. But I have found myself actually fetching for that forest. I really do that. So, but to be fair, if you play a Scalding Tarn, you wouldn't, or Polluted Delta, it's still a serviceable change. 3 Sanctuaries. I saw decks with 1. I saw decks with 2, and then me being me, I just said, let's turn it up a bit. And to be fair, it actually gives you some kind of an advantage because people think you've got 2, so you kind of catch them off guard, but that's not really the real value. I've just found that basically it was actually an easy change because I changed the Field of Ruin into Sanctuary, because Sanctuary is a blue source which turns on other Sanctuaries, and it has got immense utility contrary to the Field of Ruin. And I've really liked 3 so far, and I feel no problem with beginning the game with a tapped Sanctuary go. That's really not a problem to begin the first turn with a tap land. So, yeah, I feel perfectly fine with 3 for now. And to be fair, whatever I say is basically as of today. So as of the 17th of March, right? Any updates will come probably on Twitter, maybe in future videos. But this is as of now, as I've played, 10 leagues with the deck. Basic lands, so we've got islands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 islands, 1 forest, and now I play only 1 plains, because in practice, I almost never find myself fetching for another plains, because in practice only this needs white, but that's very narrow. That is narrow, because not against every deck you want to cast a turn 4. You only have 2 copies, right? And not against all the decks you want to cast it at all, right? So I don't feel that much pressure on the plains, to be honest. I'd much rather probably play second forest because of Uro. Because there are situations when I've drawn my basic forest, but I need the second green to escape it. So I sometimes need to fetch out a Shockland. But I find this split of basics actually fine. And then Shocklands, I play 0 Temple Garden because, again, in practice, I never find myself actively wanting a Temple Garden. And I think it's a pretty medium, to be fair. It's like, oh, there are situations where I really, like, I've got island, and I need green and white. But if that's the case, like, the point is that it happens so rarely that in the grand scheme of things, you know, when there are a lot of games played, it will hurt much more often than it will help. And so I played 2-2 split here, and I played 25 lands. I've noticed that I just lose games when I don't have lands, and I just keep having these 1-landers and 2-landers all the time. But I think this is this type of deck which says, if I play a game of Magic, I'll win because my cards are so powerful. So I want to maximize playing the game of Magic. I could see myself playing 26. Which, and to be fair, when you've got 24 lands, this is, let's say, the baseline, whatever you add on top, I think could very well be utility, right? So like, okay, 24, people say 24 is enough, and 24 probably is enough. So let's add something that's utility, which also helps with land count. So probably my 26th land, maybe it would be Sanctuary, or maybe another fetch, I don't know yet. So far it's 25. Next, 8 Path to Exile, it's like boring, but yeah, for Path to Exile. For Astrolabe, this is nuts. Hands with and hands without Astrolabe are completely different games, and then really. So unless you play with it, you won't know. You just have to play with it, and I didn't know, but then I played with it. It smooths out the game immensely, and if you may have seen maybe some screenshots from my Twitter. I play, you know, I had like literally, Island, Forest, Field of Ruin, and I cast Supreme Verdict, right? So that's unbelievable. This card is really good and works well with Teferi, which can bounce Astrolabe, right? And to replay it later. 3 mana leak. Now we don't play Logic Knot because we actually use a graveyard as a resource, and I think that's what actually pushed the deck over the top, because most decks in Modern somehow abuse the graveyard. And for blue-white, the graveyard was never a resource. It was like, oh, by the way, I've got Snapcaster Mage. But it was never a resource. Now it is an actual resource, right? With Uro, with Sanctuary, it's an actual resource, and that's huge, okay? So I think that's another point for going on for Bant. And we need some early interaction, right? I wouldn't fault anyone for playing some kind of different interaction in this slot. For example, I could see someone play a Dovin's Veto, but to be honest, it's not that Veto is not good enough. I just think the mana really doesn't want another, like, I don't want to stretch the mana base too much, basically. 3 Snapcaster Mages, just 3 because we don't have that many targets. I mean, obviously, you can say, oh, Snap Charm, Snap Cryptic, Snap Leak, but I think the biggest thing going there is the lack of opts. And that's really not trivial, because very often you had the play patterns of, opt, okay, snap opt, okay, do something. Here you cannot do that. So snap, very often actually, if you London mulligan, snap will actually go to the bottom. I've noticed myself bottoming most often a snap and a Force of Negation, because either I don't have the resources to allow myself to cast a Force, or snap doesn't do anything early, and it's like, eh. So that's a thing to think about. And Icefang Kotal. A 3 off. I used to play 4 copies. I wouldn't fault anybody for playing even fewer, because the price is just online is ridiculous. But I play 3 because I found that against non-aggressive decks, it's not really a clock. I mean, I get the point of like flash it in, keep attacking, but it's not really a clock. Like a 1/1, like 20 turns, 15 turns, that's not really a clock, right? And if you're playing a mirror with Uro, or like again Urza with Uro, they will just gain 3. And they have offset now 3 attacks. So that's not really clock. Against combo, it's just a removal which cantrip. So that's like an Azorius Charm thing. So that's a good thing. It's like a not that removal. So that's fine, but it's like not great. It's just 2 mana cycle, right? And against aggressive decks, obviously it has to shine. But in practice, I found that it's very often to turn it on turn 2, And sometimes when you have draws without Astrolabe, it's very difficult, because it's like, if you have Astrolabe, you easily find basics because you've got the snow, right? So you find snow because you don't have to pain yourself because you've got Astrolabe, and because of that, Coatl is on. But without Astrolabe, you have to find Shocklands to smooth out the mana base, but then Icefire Coatl is off. So Astrolabe plays a huge role there. And against aggressive decks, if that's not turned on, it does nothing almost, you know. It's great against spirits, against humans, but it's like a medium average against prowess, which can just do lava dart it, you know. And yeah, sure. So I personally don't like it that much. You know, if creatures have kind of evasion like Trample or Menace, it also obviously doesn't shine. But again, it does its job well, so I will just play 3. Okay, I think it's good enough to play 3. It's great against shadow decks especially, right? So 3 is the number for me right now. 3 Force of Negation. So this is the safety valve card, and it's not that we have to play it because Initial Brand is a thing. It's more about the fact that we can play, for example, we can escape Uro, or we can slam a Verdict, or we can slam a Jace or slam a Teferi, and then we kind of feel safer on the way back. We will win all the late game games. We just will. And so what I want to make sure is that I don't lose. Sometimes when an opponent engages in interaction on their turn, you feel okay with losing a card in the exchange, because you will recoup the card advantage very easily, right? So it's more important to, for example, turn 2, be able to both mana leak and force something, so be able to catch up on tempo, rather than just have the cards, because you have to remember that games of Magic, especially Modern, which has completely different arrays of decks, does not revolve around cards only. There are a lot of games where the game does not revolve around cards. It revolves, for example, about specific interactions or tempo very often. Okay, Archmage's Charm, brilliant addition to the deck. 3 blue cancel, but with great upside. Draw 2 or gain control. So basically now there is no reason to play Esper Charm, I feel, with that in the mix. And very often I found myself, when you for example, I play some kind of game where I'm passing the turn, you could just aggressively go, you know, okay, end step, draw 2, sure. And you push your advantage, like, okay, sure, play a fetch, go. You hold up Cryptic, they don't do nothing, sure, fetch, Archmage's Charm on top, right? Or turn 4, for example, Archmage, okay, turn 3, draw 2, turn 4, put it on top, Astrolabe, draw it off the top, and then you've got still 3 mana to cast it. Really, really good. Gaining the permanent. I think if you're not experienced enough to know when and what to take control of, forget about this mode, okay? Because I've seen people steal Birds of Paradise or Noble Hierarchs, which is very often suboptimal, right? I want to use this mode when it's actually relevant. For example, my opponent has an Ether Vial, and I can see them clearly stack on lands. And this vial is an actual very important resource for them. Steal it, right? And keep it on 3 for Ura, for example. Or when my opponent plays Amulet, maybe I'll aggressively just take the Amulet. Or maybe against Prowess, it's basically a removal with a blocker, right? I will just take their creature, now they don't have it, and now I can still block. So, but I would really be cautious with that mode. Or against Shadow, I sometimes even allow them to kind of drop my life total a bit, to then take the Shadow so that it's actual blocker, not only a removal spell. Teferi Time Raveler, excellent card. I don't think I have to tell you, but no, bouncing your own Snap, bouncing your own Kotal, bouncing your own Astrolabe, bouncing your own Uro as well, because I've had games where just attack with Uro, trigger, right, and then they want to Verdict them, so I just bounce my Uro and Verdict them. So like, a really, really good card. Obviously the passive is excellent. 2 copies, because Modern is not that instant speed oriented, so I don't feel like I need to overload on Teferi, so I don't, okay? But 2 copies is very good. Uro, I initially played 2, now I played 3. It's a change from a second Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. So I found that multiple Uros are like, but you always want the first one. Yeah, like you very often just want the first one. And worst case, you can just exile the second Uro to Force of Negation, right? Or you just cast one, cast the other one, and then just cast it as like a, because it doesn't stick on the battlefield the first time round. So that's fine. But it really is a powerful stabilizer. And when I played games, I saw that I surprisingly often lost to Burn and Prowess. I mean, I know that it's mostly due to me not having the sufficient number of lands in play, hence the up of lands. But I think Uro is very good to kind of pad your life total just a bit, you know, and it jumps you from turn 3 to turn 5, which lets you double spell like using this and this, which is huge, okay? Remember, when you're playing Uro turn 3, remember so that you leave, for example, a snow mana, like remember that you might want to play an Astrolabe off of that 1 mana. So for example, if you can, leave a Snowland untapped because you might draw it off of Uro or something. Jace the Mind Sculptor, better than all, obviously. I love Jace the Mind Sculptor. He's excellent in this deck. I don't think there is much to say about it. Jace the Mind Sculptor. 3 Cryptic. So a lot of people play 3 Jace to Cryptic. I play 3 Cryptic because I'm absolutely in love with Cryptic Command. And no, I'm the premier counter drawer. I know counter drawing is perfect. I just like it. I like it, and you know I really want this interactive spell, interactive instant speed spell, rather than Jace, which dies to Bolt still, right? So I still play. No, to be fair, I still play to the board plenty, right? With Kotls, Uros, Teferis. So it's just I don't think I want this slot. I want this slot to be a 3rd Cryptic Command. 2 Verdict is kind of a standard right now. Always remember that you basically need 1 because then you can keep looping it with Sanctuaries, but you want 2 because you need to draw it actually. And Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. I hated this card. You would never see me put it in my modern deck. What changed? A lot changed actually, and actually I would like to play 2. I just don't have space for 2, but I would like to play 2 Tefris. And what's the change? What changed it? This card changed it, because this card jumps me from turn 3 to turn 5, and if that's the case, then Teferi kind of costs 4 mana, and if that's the case, he's excellent. Okay, so because of Uro, I think this is much better. Now, all in all, you have to think about a deck as a whole. For example, I added 25 lands, and so I upped the Uro count, because now I've got more lands to put in from the first Uro, so I want that Uro, and I've got the lands, so that works together, right? And I've got a very high chance now of casting Teferi on turn 4. I would like to play another one again, but I don't think I really don't see myself just cutting anything at this point. So I'll just wait and see, but I really don't know what to cut. And this deck mostly wins, as I remember, through just creating immense advantage. But Uro is probably the main win condition, because against aggressive decks it pads your life total. Against Titan decks it makes you just not be overground because outgrinded, because you've got a 6/6 which is powerful, gains you life, draws more cards. You can easily Verdict with it on the board, just Verdict the zombies away and the Titan, bring back Uro. So really, really powerful engine. You're not losing long games, right? Unless you lose to time. And that actually often happens to me, that I play mirror matches and I win because of time, because I click fast. So this is the main deck, okay? We'll take a short break. And if you have any questions about the main deck, please remember them, maybe note them down, send them on Twitter, send them in the comments below, and let's get to the sideboard. Okay, we're back. Sideboard. This is the sideboard. Okay, 15 cards where I can actually bring it here, maybe. Oh, let's do that. Oh, beautiful. Let's sort by converted mana cost. Veil of Summer. This is one of the reasons to play green, you know, in this format. This is one of the reasons to play green. This card is very powerful. And what I highly suggest is that you really read what it does. It draws a card if opponent has cast blue or black spell. Okay. Spells you control cannot be countered. The ones on the stack or the ones in the future, and doesn't matter what the color of the counter spell is. 3. You and permanents you control now, for whatever is on the stack and until the end of the turn, gain hexproof from blue and black. Okay? So it doesn't protect against bolt, for example, right? So it's really worth remembering. However, what it does protect against is something which people overlook a lot, but Veil really does a lot. For example, my opponent minus Jace on my Uro, and I cast Veil of Summer, and it gives, again, hexproof from blue and black. So Jace's bounce ability fizzled, for example, or it, for example, fizzles Liliana minus, right, of the Veil, right? So that really a lot. I mean, obviously discard spells, which is nuts, but no, call against command. But please just remember that there are more things that Veil counters. So if you have Veil in hand and your opponent does whatever, just stop for a moment for 3 seconds and think, does Veil do anything against it? Now, it doesn't mean that if it does, you should cast it, but just at least know and consciously make the decision of, I want to cast it, I don't want to cast it. Sometimes it's just good to cycle it, right? For example, against humans, I side it in against humans because 1, it can counter a Reflector Mage bounce. 2, it counters Kitesail freebooter trigger. So your opponent, goes, okay, even on the play, goes, okay, turn to Kitesail. And you go, okay, Veil of Summer. And then you draw a card, they don't get anything, they just paid 2 mana for a 1/2. And worst case, they've played, a Kitesail or a Reflector Mage or a Mantis Rider or Meddling Mage, and you just say, Veil of Summer, I will just draw. Okay? Very good card. Dovin's Veto. I'm not sure on the number of vetoes. I'm just now with 2. It's been fine because it's good against decks like all the Trons or Green Trons, all the whatever or against combo decks. It's excellent because they can't use their pacts to protect their combo. In the mirrors, right, against other control decks, that's like one of the reasons why blue-white is very good control to Grixis. Like you can actually just say nope and counter that. So veto is very good. Aethergust, I think it's secretly one of the most powerful sideboard cards printed recently for control decks. It says red or green, but remember that Renin 6 is one of these things, right? So you can just, when it's on the board, Renin 6. K command, Primeval Titan, and it says that it puts it on top or bottom. It doesn't counter, so it goes through Cavern. So if an opponent tries to set up something and they play Titan, you just, no problem, right? Against Burn or Prowess, it interacts both with the stack and the board state, right? When they put it on top, you can just shuffle it away with Field of Ruin. Like, it's really, really excellent, okay? Really, really excellent. Dispute, I'm really not sure if I want to play 1, 2, or 0. It's very, very good against Urza decks, but I found that the matchup is difficult. Urza, like Urza decks are kind of difficultish sometimes, and they've got way more mana, because if they resolve an Urza, they've got a lot of mana, and they will set up a situation that they will create some advantage end step. So, and they can empty their hand a bit more quickly, so they don't have to clean up. So, Dispute is but is good against goodish against spirits, but again Cavern. Dispute is in general fine in the mirror matches, but yeah, I'm on the fence about this one. 3 Ashiok Dreamrender. This card is nuts. Probably everybody knows that. This is my 3. These are my 3 graveyard hate pieces and Titan hate pieces. So against Titan is very good because their deck doesn't function very well. Because I don't care about a 6/6 in general. I mean, but in general against Titan, I'm not really afraid of the matchup. But then even more, remember that very often when you mostly care about exile, I mean, when you care about exile and care about the shuffling, you can just minus on yourself, mill more cards for Uro, and still it exiles their graveyard, right? So it can be an engine for you. People really like playing it against other blue decks, because the games come down to milling and other people play Snapcasters and play fetches with sanctuaries and play Uro and Snapcaster mages. So I'm not convinced yet, because in mirror matches I just do poop, poop, you know, and it's very difficult to side out that many cards, because you side out, I mean, I would side out 4 paths probably, and 2 verdicts, it's 6. Okay, I probably have to side out some number of Kochels, which is doable, but then again, I want to maybe side in some Gusts for their Uro and for their Veils. So it's really difficult to put in everything, you know. But it's certainly great against graveyard decks, against Titan decks. And these last 2 slots, basically, these 4 slots are, let's say, semi-flexible. Oh, I cannot, sorry. You cannot see them. Yeah, these 4 slots are semi-flexible. But these 2 slots, so I found that I really want another card against Burn, which maybe in practice I will see it's not really needed because of the addition of 3rd Uro. But against Prowess, against Burn, it's not that it wins me the game single-handedly, because especially it really doesn't against Prowess. But I really need that just a bit more time, you know? Just even buys me 1 turn, 1 block is just enough. And I really like this card also against Dredge and against humans. You just kind of, you know, just play it, gain 6, block a bunch, and just go to turn 4, you know? Now, there is one more thing which people should remember. If you're playing a deck with Sanctuaries, the difference between 0 copies and 1 copy is gigantic, and the difference between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4 is way, way smaller, okay? Because if you've got at least 1 timely, you will be able to recast this 1 timely a lot. If you've got 0, you will never cast it, right? I know maybe it sounds trivial, but for example, against some decks which verdict is kind of goodish, but not really, leaving 1 in is probably a good idea, because you can keep recasting that 1, okay? So that's why having 1 this effect is not trivial. And Manta, because I really love this card, slamming it turn 3, it shuts the door so much against Eldrazi, against Tron, against combo decks, especially if you keep up Fawn, against Titan decks, because Titan decks are meant to kill you long game, right? With all the zombie tokens and Valakut triggers. Just play Monastery Mentor, you untap turn 4, and you've got all the Gusts, Vetoes, Ice Fangs, you know, Archmage's Charms, Force of Negations. It's just like, you know, they play a Dryad, even through Cavern, Ether Gusted, get a token, bash you. You play it again, Snapcaster, Ether Gusted, bash you, you know. So I really like this one Monastery Mentor, but as I say, these 4 slots I think are the most flexible. But I could see myself cutting the 3rd Ashiok, cutting the 3rd Veil, and maybe some number of Vetoes. But I think there is some core. I really like, I like Ashiok, I really like Gust, I like Veil as cards. Some people play Celestial Purge, but I think, like, when you've got the Gust, I think I'd rather play 4th Gust than 1st Purge. Because I don't know, because, like, what does Purge hit that Gust doesn't? Lian of the Veil, okay. This hits Croxa. I mean, it doesn't exile, right? But I just think it's way more flexible because it works on the stack and off the stack, you know. And some people play Engineered Explosives. If you know me, you know I love Engineered Explosives. I love Engineered Explosives. However, in this deck specifically, I think that we just don't need it because we've got so much going on. We've got with Path, Snap Path, block with Ice Fang, you know, take control, Teferi minus, Uro Verdict, timely. I just don't think I want explosive, to be honest. But who knows? Maybe this is actually the slot. Maybe I should actually not play, for example, 3rd Ashiok or 3rd Veil or Dispute and just play Engineered Explosives for that prowess, that humans, Bant Spirits matchups. It is very much possible. So this is my sideboard. Again, now think about it for a moment, and last segment will come in a bit. Why not Snowblade? So I want to keep it very short and sweet so that I don't make it even longer. I don't play Snowblade because I really hate the card Stoneforge Mystic. I cannot see myself casting turn to Stoneforge Mystic to find a Batterskull, to put it in play turn 3 and to attack it turn 4 in Modern. No way you convince me. And I understand that, they also play all these interactive spells and you can still hold up Mana Leak, you can still play the interactive game. But if I need to be a control deck, I will still have these, Batterskulls and Sword and these Stoneforge Mystics in the deck. And I will rely on attacking. And if I need to be the aggressive deck, I'm not aggressive. I just think that if my role is to be aggressive, I'm certainly not aggressive enough because I physically cannot. Because I cannot. So that's my take probably on it. That's my opinion for now. I cannot see myself playing a Stoneforge Mystic. I think this deck is very, very powerful. If you need to be more aggressive, I would just jam probably a Mentor on 2 in the sideboard in a specific matchup. But post sideboard, very often you don't need to be aggressive because you've got such powerful tools right now that you don't need to be aggressive. You can just lock them out, let's say, right? And in fair games, you will win fair games because of the tools you've got. So yeah, so this will be my answer, but maybe if it's not clear, you can ask me again in the comments. And to finish up, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, hold my hand, let's pass the turn together, and see you next time. Cheers!